When we think about harvest, what we're really thinking about is collective meaning making. What are we accomplishing together? What meaning have we made together about the work we want to get done, and how can we share that or communicate that out?
To use the word harvest instead of just results calls us back into the metaphors of nature itself, of the living system that we are.
We're very intentional about the notion of using the word harvest, as opposed to sort of more traditional notions of reports or minutes or other documents. So harvest could be certainly a report or a document, but it could be a drawing, it could be a skit, it could be a song. It's a way of telling the story of the work done in a manner that communicates powerfully to whomever we wish to share the knowledge learned.
When I think about harvesting, I think of going through, an hour or two of a really tough conversation, and somebody has to keep an eye on the bigger picture of, what's actually being talked about here. So I always find that the value of harvesting is to really understand where people are at the end of a conversation and begin to understand what people pulled from it, and then begin to reach at least a consensus of what was heard in that conversation during the day.
It seems to me that it's a wonderful way of sifting through a lot of the noise of the conversation to make sure that you're gathering and transmitting the critical ideas. And particularly when you're working in multicultural settings and different traditions, it's wonderful to have different methodologies for gathering and communicating and honoring different forms of expression.
I think we've just begun to understand what it means to begin to practice harvesting as a purpose for bringing people together. It's not we're just bringing people together to talk, but what are we going to harvest out of it? How is it going to serve the coming generations on the planet?
Many of us think about planning a harvest instead of a meeting. So we think about what's the meaning making that's going to take place, what are the artifacts that are going to represent the work done, how are we going to communicate what we've accomplished in our time together to our colleagues, to the community. So we think about that, and then we can plan back from that notion, that idea of harvest, of outcomes, and what are the best ways for us to get there.
In all of the methodologies, it is wise to harvest, but how you then do it depends on the style of the facilitator and the particular context and purpose.
The intangible harvest, the relationships we create with each other, the trust that's created in the room, even the change in perspective that we may take with us, probably is more powerful than any artifact you can create.
There is a certain clarity waiting that when 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 people see together something that's now clear for them because they have worked it, then that clarity is a harvest. So when you bring clarity and commitment together, out of that can arise action, because now people are moving in rhythm and they have decided, yes, we are going to do this and we are committed to do it. That to me is an incredible harvest.